You know, it's not like I all of a sudden lost my mind and started, saying stupid shit. I've been doing it for 11 years.
My name is Dana White. I am the president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
It's impossible not to talk about him amongst the all-time great now. And yes, he possibly could be the greatest ever. It's normal, you know. I was upset about 200 and, many other things. Leave me alone. Go and do whatever it is you're doing. Knock yourself out. I could care less. She's unhappy. We're unhappy. She lies and does that thing. See you later. Have a nice life.
He took off. I mean, they gave him the ability to be able to cut promos. That put him over the top.
Dana White's raw truth, hating UFC fighters. With unfiltered candor, Dana White reveals his candid thoughts on certain UFC fighters, delving into the conflicts and reasons behind his fierce disdain. Number 10. Tito Ortiz. During the peak of their feud, Dana White.
How are you?
Good. This guy's turned out to be one of the best interviewers in MMA. So
I put 4 months into this training camp. I took it really seriously, and I've been fighting for 11 years.
I don't disagree. Yeah, people like Tito. I would agree with that.
And every time when it's time to present and perform, he's failed. On Saturday night, it's not going to change.
The UFC president and Tito Ortiz, former light heavyweight champion, nearly engaged in a boxing match. Their relationship was marred by disagreements over fighter pay and promotional decisions. Ortiz, known for his wrestling background, proposed a contract stipulation for a boxing match with White. Surprisingly, White accepted the challenge, even seriously sparring and losing weight in preparation. While White believed in his boxing ability, he acknowledged he would likely lose in a full MMA contest against Ortiz. The match was set as part of a deal for Ortiz to coach the Ultimate Fighter alongside White. However, Ortiz backed out on the day of the weigh-ins, leading to animosity and issues with the commission. The actual outcome of the hypothetical match remains unknown, but it symbolizes the intense rivalry and strained relationships between the two. Number 9. Randy Couture. Randy Couture's departure from the UFC in 2007 was driven by a combination of factors, including feeling unappreciated and dissatisfaction with contract terms.
Of what's going on with that promotion and how the fighters are treated, and I think one of the reasons why the Ali Act.
Like I said before, it started with a little smack talk between me and the president of Pride.
I've been persona non grata with the UFC, mostly because Dana just doesn't really care for me.
Couture, the reigning heavyweight champion at the time, held a press conference at his Extreme Couture gym in Las Vegas to explain his decision. He clarified that he didn't intend to retire, but left the UFC due to a sense of being undervalued. He expressed a desire to fight Fedor Emelianenko, a bout that the UFC was unable to arrange. Couture's grievances extended to fighter bonuses, revealing that undisclosed post-fight bonuses were given, impacting fighters' perceived market value. The tipping point was the UFC offering Emelianenko a larger signing bonus than Couture had ever earned from a fight. While he had respect for the Fertitta brothers, he criticized Dana White's wielding of power. This public dispute highlighted Couture's concerns about his treatment and contractual matters within the organization. Number 8. Ken Shamrock. After his UFC career, Ken Shamrock engaged in a series of public disputes with UFC president Dana White, largely revolving around fighter compensation and treatment.
It's not like I all of a sudden lost my mind and started, saying stupid shit. I've been doing it for 11 years.
He took off. I mean, they gave him the ability to be able to cut promos. That put him over the top. Strength is what got me through, and I was able to dominate just on strength, and then came my technique. As I got older,
Shamrock, a former UFC fighter and Hall of Fame member, criticized the UFC's business practices and alleged unfair treatment of fighters, particularly in terms of compensation. However, Dana White dismissed Shamrock's claims, labeling him as a bitter and broke individual who owes the UFC a significant amount of money due to a breach of contract lawsuit. The feud highlighted the ongoing tension between fighters and the promotion regarding pay and treatment, with Shamrock's Hunt's credibility being questioned due to his financial and legal troubles. This exchange showcased a broader issue of fighter compensation and the strained relationship between some fighters and the UFC administration. Number 7. Loretta Hunt. Loretta Hunt, a journalist known for her coverage of MMA, particularly the UFC, became embroiled in a conflict with Dana White after she wrote a factual story about fighter managers being denied backstage credentials at UFC events. White's strong reactions to the story and subsequent actions, such as not credentialing her for events, led to a public feud between them.
So I always felt like that was a reason, especially right in that moment when the UFC was just about to go on TV with The Ultimate Fighter.
And he didn't. He stayed focused, kept moving forward, and kept trying to finish until he did.
Hunt expressed her frustration with the media ban and the climate of fear it created, where many journalists were reluctant to discuss controversial topics for fear of losing their credentials and livelihood. She emphasizes her commitment to honest and truthful reporting and highlighted the intimidation some media outlets felt from Zuffa and the UFC, particularly Dana White. The dispute underscored the challenges journalists faced in covering the sport impartially while navigating the complexities of their relationship with the promotion. Number 6. Bob Arum. Bob Arum, a prominent boxing promoter known for his outspoken remarks, has engaged in a series of exchanges with Dana White. These interactions have often revolved around the ongoing debate between boxing and mixed martial arts, MMA.
My name is Dana White. I am the president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
I mean, it is not a sport that shows great talent. The guys who throw punches.
Arum has made controversial comments about MMA and its fans, referring to MMA fans as a bunch of skinhead white guys and criticizing MMA fighters. He has also expressed skepticism about a potential super fight between Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather Jr., which many considered a crucial match for boxing reputation. Arum's brash and dismissive attitude towards MMA has fueled tension between the two sports communities. In contrast, Ariel Helwani, a journalist, has played a role in defending MMA and pushing back against Arum's remarks during interviews, showcasing the ongoing rivalry between boxing and MMA. Number 5. John Jones. Dana White, the president of the UFC, and John Jones, a highly regarded fighter, have been involved in notable public disagreements that have garnered attention. These disputes have predominantly revolved around fight negotiations and financial compensations for Jones. While their conflicts do not necessarily amount to outright hate, they underscore the complex dynamics between fighters and the promotion, shedding light on issues such as fighter pay and contractual terms within the UFC.
I think it's disgusting. I think he's disgusting, and I never want to see him reffing ever again.
These public disagreements have contributed to the ongoing conversation about fair treatment and compensation for athletes in the world of mixed martial arts. Number 4. Oscar De La Hoya. Dana White and Oscar De La Hoya, a former boxing champion turned MMA promoter, have been engaged in public disputes, particularly amplified when De La Hoya ventured into the MMA promotion realm.
It's impossible not to talk about him amongst the all-time great now, and yes, he possibly could be the greatest ever.
I never in a million years, and I'm being serious, never thought that I would be inducted into the Hall of Fame. This was a dream come true for me.
Their conflicts stem from differing viewpoints on various aspects of combat sports, including promotion strategies and fighter treatment. De La Hoya's entry into MMA promotion, notably with Golden Boy MMA, has led to exchanges of criticisms and challenges with White, who is highly protective of the UFC brand. Their public spats reflect the competitive nature of the combat sports industry and underline the contrasting approaches to promoting and managing fighters. These confrontations have also highlighted the ongoing rivalry between established boxing and MMA promotions in the broader combat sports landscape. Number 3. Tyson Fury's management team. Dana White, the UFC president, has voiced his opposition to the idea of a crossover bout between UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou and boxing's WBC heavyweight champion Tyson Tyson Fury. Despite both fighters expressing interest, White disapproves of such crossover fights, labeling them as stupid and a waste of time, energy, and money. He pointed out the massive advantage boxing holds for Fury, given his skill and experience in the sport. White's stance is notably different from his involvement in the Floyd Mayweather vs. Conor McGregor boxing match in 2017.
It's normal, you know. I was upset about 200 and many other things.
Oh, he's going that way. No, he's going this way, looking for one punch.
Which was driven by overwhelming public demand. While crossover fights may capture public attention, White's firm stance reflects his reservations and unwillingness to engage in such collaborations in the future, citing the lack of enthusiastic demand from fans. Number 2. Roy Nelson. During Roy Nelson's time on The Ultimate Fighter, he clashed with Dana White due to disagreements over Nelson's attitude and approach. White publicly criticized Nelson for his behavior on the show, highlighting issues with his attitude. This tension between Nelson and White emerged as a focal point during the reality series. The dispute centered on Nelson's perceived lack of seriousness and his unconventional behavior.
Leave me alone. Go and do whatever it is you're doing. Knock yourself out. I could care less.
He was 170. Okay. All right. You can't fix stupid. You can't.
Which clashed with White's expectation for a professional fighter. These disagreements underscored the challenges of managing personalities within the competitive world of mixed martial arts and revealed the contrasting viewpoints between Nelson and the UFC president. Number 1. Chris Cyborg Justino. Towards the latter stages of her time with the UFC, Chris Cyborg Justino and Dana White engaged in public disputes primarily centered around fight negotiations and media representations. The tensions were notably heightened due to disagreements regarding Cyborg's perceived portrayal in the media. Cyborg expressed her frustration with how she was being depicted and promoted by the UFC, which she believed negatively affected her public image. Additionally, there were contentious negotiations surrounding potential fights, particularly a super fight with then bantamweight champion Amanda Nunes.
She's unhappy, we're unhappy. She lies and does that thing. See you later. Have a nice life.
But I was training hard, doing my best every time. Like Bellator doing the reason now. Fighters gonna go fight the end of the year there in Japan.
Cyborg accused White of mishandling negotiation and failing to offer her suitable terms for the bout. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.